As we wrap up day 3 of the 2023 MLB Draft presented by Nike. Welcome back in, everybody. Melanie Newman, Jonathan Mayo, and Jim Callis here with you one more time as we take a look back at everybody who came off the board for all 30 teams. Good luck to all of those whose names were announced today and to the rest of you who might find an undrafted free agent deal in your future. We know there's a lot of those still to come as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what's going to come next, especially in our world. You know, the scouting industry is going to go out and start looking at 2024 guys, but also getting all these guys signed, out playing, pro ball. You'll start seeing announcements of guys coming to terms and getting out and getting their pro career started.
Yeah, the sign deadline, July 25th. It's earlier this year. The draft was about a week earlier than it was last year. So within 2 weeks, the guys out of this draft who are going to sign are going to be, turn pro, and some of them will be out in minor league getting their career started.
When you look back at this year's class, what stands out to you overall, especially to years past? We've talked about just how deep this class is.
Yeah, and that goes back, I think we've talked several times the last few days about the pandemic. Only a 5-round draft. A lot of kids who might have signed out of high school, there were fewer picks. Teams had less flexibility to move money around, and a lot of those guys went up to college. I mean, shoot, Dylan Cruz was the number 2 pick in the draft. He pulled out of the draft 5 years ago. But I guess the biggest thing that just jumps out is back at the beginning, we had 2 LSU guys go 1 and 2. That never happened before in a July draft now.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah, old habits die hard. But and then we saw a run of college hitters at the top, which I think reinforced the fact that all these, this was a deep draft. These were guys who might have signed in 2020, but they made it to 23.
Yeah, I think typically over the last several years, we've seen the industry do such a good job of identifying the best high school players, especially the hitters, that it's less frequent to have that many good college hitters, especially at the top of the draft. The pandemic had a lot to do with it. And then you had a guy like Wyatt Langford who went close to the top of the draft, who just developed a little bit later once he got to college. But I do think that we have seen the sort of ripple effects of what happened in 2020 for sure.
Well, we've had a little bit of a curse this week. I have my laptop that's hanging on here by a thread right now. But Jim, we got to give a spotlight to you here because this is like your Super Bowl for both of you this week. And Old Faithful has been getting it together on Gaffer's tape here. 3 more days.
I can confirm.
So it's made it. It's made it so far.
It did, in fact, make it at the end of day 3 here. And you know what? If you want to become a coffee drinker, I can get you on board. We're in the perfect city to start bad habits.
Yeah, definitely.
And then he can spill the coffee on his laptop.
I did that last year, so we're good.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
His body is held together by Gaffer's tape as well.
That's right. I'm not going to take my shirt off, but trust me. Gaffer's tape everywhere. So.
Well, and I know, too, for you guys, you want to just take a moment here. We've talked about how big these past 2 days in particular have been, leaning on scouts, leaning on those who are out in the area, anybody who can give an idea of these kids whose names have been passed off. But there's so many more people that go into making these 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jonathan and I both would just like to thank all the scouts, everybody in the baseball industry who helps with our draft coverage, preparing us not only for the top 250 players, but details on these guys. And then yesterday, when picks are flying a pick a minute, and we start getting into some college seniors we don't know about, so many teams, so many scouts, very graciously providing us with information to fill in blanks on guys. And I know they work hard. It's their Super Bowl, too. I mean, you work, 12 months to scout these guys, and then you get to pick 20 of them. So thank you to everybody for helping with our coverage, and I hope everybody's drafts went as well as they hoped.